Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell? I've never heard that before.
By continuing this meeting, you are consenting to be recorded.
Wow.
Yeah, I see that too.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Wow.
Hello, everyone,
Consent
and
is sexy.
welcome.
Sorry, start again.
Welcome to a very low-key, chill vibes movie club on the Cult Popture podcast, sort of. This is, of course, a tier that is unlockable on our Patreon. So if you're watching this, the preserved version of this video on one of our YouTube channels, you too can join the Cult Popture Movie Club by heading to Patreon and joining the Cult Classics tier. And this month, we are going to be discussing a movie. And that movie is 2004, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Howard Hughes, The Aviator.
Did you buy that specifically for this, Vincent? Or
No, this is 10 years old at this point.
What? All right, so The Aviator is a 2004 Martin Scorsese film starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's a biopic about Howard Hughes. So I've just repeated everything. Guess who's padding for time? It also stars...
Wait. Let's all guess who's padding for time, because I think it's probably AJ, right? That would make the most sense in context.
My name is AJ Aviator.
Yeah, like do you guys have any guesses about who could be padding for time? And maybe throw out a reason as well, if you have one, as to why this person would be padding for time.
Just a guess. I think it's AJ.
Whoa. Let's analyze that sneeze real quick.
That's right.
HK, how'd it feel?
Look, it felt almost like Kate Blanchett as Katharine Hepburn in this film. Or perhaps
transformative.
Kate Beckinsale as Ava Gardner. Very much in the background and not notable. It also features Ian Holm, John C. Reilly, Alec Baldwin, Jude Law, Gwen Stefani, Kelly Garner, Matt Ross, Willem Dafoe, Alan Alda, and Edward Herman.
Whose man?
Hers. Edwards.
Oh. Okay.
So it's based on the life of Howard Hughes. Who wants to give us a rundown out of the two people who have joined us for this month's movie club? Which one of you cats wants to give us a rundown on what the
Should we introduce them as well?
Yeah, what are you guys' names?
Are we going to try this, Vincent?
Yes.
Okay.
Whoever we introduce
them, we can see their names.
Do you do go, like rock, paper, scissors, go?
Yes.
Or shoot? Yeah.
I go.
There's a mirror. It's just rock, paper, scissors.
Fuck off, AJ.
Fuck off. Actually, we call it... Do you say paper, scissors, rock, Richard? That's how I order it.
Ready?
Like, if I was doing it, I would say paper, scissors, rock, but I would call the game rock,
go.
paper, scissors.
Right.
Hey.
All right. I was paper.
So does that mean...
So I give a rundown?
You have to, or Vincent gets to?
You can choose if you want to do it. No, Vincent chooses.
Yeah, I choose. And I choose that Sarah does it, because I think we finally let a female talk on this thing.
Agreed.
So like the whole movie, right? It is about a billionaire, or I guess it's not really important, right? A very wealthy man who gets obsessed with projects and about how that sort of ruins his life, ultimately. That's pretty concise. But it's concise. A long movie. There's so much in there.
Yeah. It's so long.
So did you guys know much about who Howard Hughes was before watching this?
No.
Mm-mm. What about you, Richard?
My only kind of knowledge of Howard Hughes comes from the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns, it's the Springfield with a dollar sign, or how I learned to stop worrying and love gambling. And yeah, Mr. Burns becomes a recluse, becomes terrified of germs, and creates and becomes obsessed with the little airplane called the Spruce Moose.
How did you know there was a Howard Hughes parody?
I think like that,
because I didn't know that. I just thought that it was the archetype of a man going insane.
Yeah, I guess, but like I think it's one of those things where, yeah, I somehow knew that was a Howard Hughes reference, but I don't know how I knew. And
Cool.
and so I must have had prior knowledge of Howard Hughes before that, but I don't know where that prior knowledge came from.
It's funny. I didn't know too much, but it is funny to go into a movie called The Aviator and go, okay, it's about an aviator, and then it's about a filmmaker, and be like, well, what is he? Is he a filmmaker and an aviator? Why is he both? But that was it basically. I mean, the movie sort of makes it clear is that he made films about planes and clearly was really into planes, and then was sort of contracted to try and help the US war effort with his aviation knowledge, but sort of goes insane. The movie itself sort of starts being about demonstrating his sort of obsessive compulsive nature when it comes to being a perfectionist. And by the end, it turns into like a legal battle between Howard Hughes and Pan Am, who's the main airline in America, or was in the 40s. And it's all about how they are trying to essentially create a monopoly on international travel, and Howard Hughes's company, which is called
TWA.
Yep. How they, basically calling out Pan Am on having the monopoly. And it's about Pan Am trying to be like, no, it's not a monopoly. It's just, we're the safest airline to do it. And it becomes a sort of a legal battle between the two before Howard Hughes ultimately wins. So this was one of those films which really like swept the Academy Award nominations. We got Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Actor for Leonardo DiCaprio, and Best Supporting Actor for Alan Alda, which is cool because I didn't know that. And watching this movie, I was like, man, Alan Alda's great. And
good.
He won.
Alan Alda's a funny one. That I think the first thing I actually saw him in was Marriage Story, and I only knew that was Alan Alda because I've heard Bill Hader's impression of him.
I watched a lot of MASH when I was about 10 years old,
Right.
so he's always the guy from MASH for me. So it didn't win any of the awards I just listed, but it did win Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Costume Design, Best Art Direction, and Best Supporting Actress for Cate Blanchett, who was playing Katharine Hepburn. Something trivia. She is the
only Oscar winner to win an Oscar for playing an Oscar winner.
There you go. So what did everybody think of the film? Let's go around the circle and everybody say in broad strokes what they thought of the movie. Who wants to go first?
I will.
Vincent, I feel like you have to.
Yes. So, as I said, I've had this for 10 years, and 10 years ago was the first time I saw this movie, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was one of my favorite films at the time. Watching it now, it's a 3-hour movie that I like. I think the supporting cast is phenomenal in it. And I think as far as Leo goes, I think he is good in some scenes. In other scenes, I think, is it wrong to say he's trying too hard?
I don't think that's wrong. That's Leo in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that's the story of Leonardo DiCaprio, isn't it? Trying too hard.
Trying too hard to get that Oscar, which he lost to Jamie Foxx, who portrayed Ray on the same year as the Oscars for this one. But I think the supporting cast should get a lot of praise, because I think John C. Reilly is fucking amazing in this. I think every scene he's in, he is like the focal point of it. He is so good at being with Leo and trying to be the sane man. And everything, and Cate Blanchett, even though I don't like the accent, but I think she's
that transatlantic accent of the time,
and the golly, I thought that's my least favorite part of the film. Just golly, straight into the camera, like, you're better than this, Kate. What are you doing?
Well, she won the Oscar for it, Vincent. So is it that I don't think it's that it's bad acting. I think it's just that it's a very authentic performance of maybe a type of person that you don't really
because how familiar is everyone with Katharine Hepburn?
Not at all. I mix her up with Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
Because Katharine Hepburn has more acting Oscars than anyone. She's got 4 in the lead actress category, which is unmatched. And it's like she's of that era, of that very like talking the transatlantic accent, and like that kind of weird. It's not actually for a place. Like it's not any specific region's accent. It's like one that was created for movies. And I think, and it's kind of mentioned a few times in the film, but where she's performing and it feels like she's putting on an accent, but that to me is more like the character feels like she's putting on an accent, not Cate Blanchett. And yeah, and there's a kind of a couple of scenes where Leo's kind of like, can we cut the bullshit kind of thing, and it feels like these are, because she's a performer, that it's, you know, these are a lot of things that she like has trouble stripping away in her personal life. Also, fun fact, Kate is in Cate Blanchett is spelt with a C. However, on the Wikipedia page for the Aviator, it says it spells it with a K.
Well, it does once. It doesn't. It spells. I was going to bring that up as well. That's an interesting. Not often you see a Wikipedia mistake in the wild. You know. Alrighty.
There's another Kate, isn't there? Another Kate in this cast, though.
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if they like. Yeah. Whatever. Somebody.
It says Cate Blanchett. It doesn't just refer to her as Kate, but it says Cate Blanchett with a K. Ridiculous.
Hope someone got fired for that blunder.
Fired from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia.
Sarah, what did you think of the film?
Overall, I liked it. I mean, it didn't blow me away, I guess, right? Because it was like really intense, but by the end of the movie, I just was like, so how am I supposed to feel here? What's like the read on this? Visually, I loved it because it was, you know, beautiful. It's gorgeous. So it's nice to hear that it won all those Oscars for like technical and visual things, because I hated, it's another accent thing. Leo's accent, I hated it. Like when he first busted out that accent, I was like, oh no.
It's like a bit of a southern accent, isn't it? Like a
but it sounds so bad. I was hoping Brett was gonna be here because I was like, tell me.
Tell him that his accent's stupid.
Yes.
It's not Brent's accent. It's fine. Leonardo's accent.
Howard Hughes
Leo should sound like Brent.
From
what we're
Texas.
saying.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like period piece wise.
He's from a little humble town in Texas called Humble, Texas.
His accent almost got me with Kate's accent too. When they were in the room together, I was like, I can't.
I'm turning it off. I'm glad you brought up how this film looks, because I want to talk about this has got to be the most insane color grade I've ever seen in a film.
Yes.
For the first 52 minutes.
If I color graded something this way for a client, they'd be like, "Can you not do this?" Like at one point they go and play golf and the grass is like blue.
Yeah.
It is a crazy color grade. What do does anybody have any, what is the point of this color grade? Does anybody have any reads on it?
Or I can, if anyone wants to do a read on it, but I can tell you the reason that they
tell me the reason.
So it's for the first 52 minutes of the film is what is it looks like that, and then there's the bit where he like crashes in a field, and I was like, it's this weird thing where it feels like such a stylistic choice, but I was like, what are you going for? But yeah, it's essentially every part of the film is supposed to look like a film that would be made in the year it came out. And so when in that opening 1935 scenes before 1935, before Technicolor came in, it was colored using the like biopic color. So it's essentially just like you have blue and red. It would be blue and red. Cyan and red are the only two colors, and shades of like every color in between are kind of made through those. So you lose green almost completely. And so green shows up as blue. And that was, part of it is that it's trying to emulate the technology available at the time.
Okay. Interesting.
Red was always a good color for him, though. This is what I noticed, is that red was always a good color. Whenever something good was happening, or not good, it like, whenever he was in like a safe, whenever he sort of felt a safe, like the reds became more pronounced. And I thought it was like, his eyes are blue, even though they're really, Howard Hughes' eyes were really brown in real life. There was something, I was like reading the Wikipedia on it, and Cate Blanchett's eyes are blue. And then whenever something like got too real, you would see green. Like, the office for Pan Am, it's like very green, right? In the courtroom scene, wrote it down somewhere. In the courtroom scene, like people are wearing shades of like seafoam green, and like so that was something I noticed because that's like sort of a costumey thing too, where it transfers over.
Yeah.
Like it just not only in like the color grading and stuff, but like through the wardrobe and stuff that kind of conveyed that as well, which is sort of like a fun tie over, I thought. But
it's interesting you say good things happen with Red, because the only moment I remember with Red is when he crashes the fucking plane and is like covered in blood. And
when he scrubs his hands too hard that he bleeds.
Not actually good. It's just like, I guess
significant.
he's
Those were good
in
moments.
his element. If it's red, he's sort of like in his element. And I feel like green is like when I always knew something bad was going to happen when green colors started to appear on the screen or people were wearing green, because I was like, things are going to get out of control. Like it's going to be the outside world crashing in on him. Anyway.
As the costume expert, Sarah, what do you think this deserved the best costume Oscar?
I thought all the costumes were really beautiful and really like period accurate. So, and also, I mean, he's got interesting. Howard Hughes's costumes are interesting because it's simple, but like there's that scene where he burns all his clothes after Catherine leaves him. You know, he's stressed out, and then he gets like this really simplified wardrobe, which it reminds me a little bit of Steve Jobs, how he's famous for just wearing like the mock neck, plain. You know what I mean? He's like a very intellectually like person, and he just kind of pared down his wardrobe. And I think I read on Wikipedia that like the real Howard Hughes might have developed like sensory issues. So like the soft, the comfortable shoes and like a plain white shirt with like no tie, and like he only got his haircut and nails
like his
cut,
skin
like,
was actually like hypersensitive kind of
thing.
thing.
So like things that would normally be painful became painful, and like so I don't know, it's like the more he lost himself, the more he like kind of anyway.
Yeah. So like how much is Howard Hughes like taught in American schools?
Briefly.
I didn't remember anything about him, but certainly not the racy mommy issues. So
yeah,
they never cover the sexy stuff in school, do
they?
So Vincent, like what was the kind of context of the education around Howard Hughes?
Like but just like aviation wise, like he was perfectionist and the spruce goose. Basically, that's it.
Yeah, does someone want to explain? Because the spruce goose is one of those things again that are like partly through The Simpsons, but I had like heard this term a lot of times and like didn't really understand like he made a like I think part of me didn't realize it was a real plane as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can explain it. Yeah. So the U.S. Air Corps, the Air Force at the time, during World War II, knew Howard Hughes he's a genius. He can make a plane. So we need a new plane to fight the Nazis in World War II. And Howard Hughes thinks, well, I can make a big plane with enough soldiers for the tanks, for the jeeps, all that. That way it's go in, win, get out. So then making the scaling bigger and bigger and delaying it because he's a perfectionist, we eventually won World War II and the contract was null and void. But hey, he needs to prove something to himself that he can make the biggest plane that can fly. So it became a joke in the media, as in this guy just took millions of dollars from the U.S. military to not deliver anything except a big old goose of a plane, the spruce goose, if you will. Which is why the ending of the film, you see it. Yeah, see, AJ, see, you're smarter than American now.
Because gooses look funny. Everybody knows gooses are funny.
Gooses.
Which is why I understand how the
it's geese! It's geese!
Jesus Christ.
The spruce geese! Cool. So, in terms of what I thought of the film itself, am I crazy for saying that there's two types of Martin Scorsese film, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
Look,
I'm going there. I feel like he either makes films like The Departed, which are like just sort of these, general stories about stuff that he has his fictional
stories about stuff.
he has his like fictional stories and his non-fictional stories, and his non-fictional stories are always these really long biopics and I understand the man's importance to cinema. But I also I feel like The Aviator, Goodfellas, The Irishman, The Wolf of Wall Street. I feel like these are all essentially the same movie, just mad-libbed.
I would take The Irishman out of that.
Okay.
But Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, The Aviator, it's all that the rise and fall of someone kind of thing. And I think that's what really and I think it's the fall that really is what draws Scorsese to the project. Goodfellas is kind of like the perfect example of it. It's like that's I mean, I don't think it's like necessarily his first one that did it, but that's the one that like perfected that kind of like rise and then the downfall. And then I think Wolf of Wall Street does it a lot better than The Aviator. And DiCaprio's way better in The Wolf of Wall Street as well. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree that this is like very much like a Scorsese type of movie, but I also don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying it's a bad thing either. I just wonder how many times can you essentially tell the same story structure
I think he's got a few more
while still being celebrated as one of the greatest directors of all time. I don't know.
Still being a very famous person.
Yeah, very famous.
AJ described them last week.
I guess like I can still see the craft and the filmmaking and like it's all obviously excellent, but I don't know. I'm always just like I never know what kind of Scorsese film it's going to be before I watch it, and then I'll start watching it and be like, "Oh, it's a rise and fall movie. All right, like let's watch it play out." Like I think my favorite Scorsese film is probably either The Departed or The Wolf of Wall Street, but I haven't seen all of them. I've only seen a few of them. And I wouldn't call The Departed a rise and fall film movie in the same way, probably because it's not based on a true story.
It's a remake as well.
Yeah, but I would call The Wolf of Wall Street that, and I don't know what it is about.
Yeah, The Wolf of Wall Street 100% is. The Wolf of Wall Street is like beat for beat Goodfellas, essentially, on Wall Street. Yeah.
So I guess
about Howard Hughes as well is that like I think because something like The Aviator is like, because I've wanted to see this for a long time, and like it's one of those movies I think I thought I would like, and it's one of those like I've spoken critically of Leonardo DiCaprio in the past, but I like Martin Scorsese, I like their collaborations, and I kind of thought like, oh, maybe this will be like my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movie. And I think there's something that like, because I wasn't in love with it, it's a good movie, but there's something about Howard Hughes that attracts a lot of filmmakers. Like between Scorsese, Brian De Palma was making a Howard Hughes biopic with Nicolas Cage, but like Warren Beatty had this like famous Howard Hughes passion project that he didn't make for years, and it was like he kind of shelved it because of The Aviator, but then made it in 2016. It's called Rules Don't Apply. And then also Christopher Nolan's been wanting to do a Howard Hughes movie for like a long time. And so I think it's one of these things that like there's this obsessive nature that, it's filmmaking, but then his obsession turns into aviation. But that obsessive nature that people feel that he feels about filmmaking, there's probably a lot of filmmakers out there that are like, I have to make a Howard Hughes biopic because and so I think it's one of those things that maybe doesn't actually translate that well to like historians, I guess. And like it's kind of like a niche thing, and also Howard Hughes doesn't have as much of a universal appeal as I think that some filmmakers think he does.
Is Howard Hughes to filmmakers what like Tyler Durden is to college frat boys?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Like filmmakers watch The
Aviator. You're getting the wrong message from this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Filmmakers watch The Aviator and be like, ugh, that's so me. I'm seeing myself. Like, like V from V for Vendetta and the Joker and Tyler Durden and Travis Bickle all get wrapped up in that kind of joke. But it's like, this is the seldom represented edgelord that people want to be.
Oh, yeah.
Taxi Driver, another Martin Scorsese film that I'd say isn't a rise and fall.
On the spot.
That we've covered.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver is way better.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, your description, Vincent, that this is a 3-hour movie that I liked. That's like a
Yeah.
perfect description.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this has 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I gotta say, I did not. I had a very loose idea of what this movie was. I said to Richard the other day, he was like, it's 3 hours long, and I was like, isn't it a Disney movie? Which I didn't actually think it was, but I think Vincent, hold up the DVD you've got again. Like, there is a Mandela effect thing in my mind of the Disney logo being above the title there. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
imagine
yeah, totally.
imagine if that was there, that wouldn't look out of place, right?
No.
Something about the
Yeah.
color palette and the framing of the picture. It feels like it's a Disney movie poster.
Yeah.
I do agree with you.
I did say that I think he's thinking of The Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Disney was developing one for a long time. Michael Mann was actually hired by Disney, and he hired Leo.
Ah, right.
Oh.
Hmm.
Wow.
There you go.
And then, yeah, got dropped in New Line, picked it up.
Nice. All right.
This cannot
Glad
have been
they
a
did.
Disney movie.
Yeah.
No.
No, not at
With
all.
a
Of course
man-
not.
A man hiring a 15-year-old to date him. Ugh.
Very, very cool. Very fun. So
Very sexy.
one of the reasons I think the Aviator has entered reevaluation, well, not reevaluation. One of the reasons I was thinking about it recently, and I think a lot of
Because
people
you watched it.
It's because I watched it. No, it's because in one of Patrick Willem's video essays where he talks about the problem with musical biopics, he actually uses the Aviator to demonstrate how to do a biopic properly. And what he talks about in it is how most musical biopics follow just are trying to cram as much information into a story as possible. And like, how many times can you watch a celebrated musical icon get mad and yell at his wife in front of his kids, fall into drugs, cheat on his wife, and then go to rehab? Like, it's the same thing over and over again. And he talks about how what sets the Aviator apart, despite, it's not a musical biopic, but it is a biopic. But what sets it apart from other movies like it is that it focuses on a theme instead of just being like, this is his entire life. Well, no, Patrick says the theme is obsession, which is really interesting, and I think that is a cool. That is like the piece of information I went into this film knowing, is that it's about a man's battle with obsession. And in that sense, yeah, it's very much like the way it ends is that very sort of tragic Scorsesean, but is it all okay kind of ending where it's like, you got everything you wanted, eccentric, wealthy main protagonist of my movie, but was it worth it? And like that applies to almost every Scorsese film, right? Was it worth it? And because this ends with Howard repeating the way of the future at himself in the mirror, sort of, did he really win the day, or is he still haunted by his other side?
It's trying
Yeah. So he's sort of like still haunted by all that, and I feel like what's interesting about the Aviator is that it's a great it's a great example to talk about why Scorsese has better films. like as I'm talking about, I'm like, yeah, it ends in this tragic, was it worth it moment. It's like, but The Irishman's the best example of that. It's like, and it's a rise and fall story, but The Wolf of Wall Street's probably a better example of this. But yeah, Richard, what did you think of the film?
Like it was a 3-hour movie I liked, and looking at the looking at it through the lens of I'm not a big Leonardo DiCaprio fan. I've seen I've seen quite a few of his movies, and I think he's similar to like Pete Davidson. Is like, I'm fascinated by him, but Pete Davidson, I'm like, yeah, I like this dude. But Leo, like my problem with Leo, if this is your first time hearing me talk about it, is that like he takes himself too seriously for me, and it's like he does good performances. He's undoubtedly a good actor, but people act like he's the second coming of acting Jesus. And he's
Who
not.
was the first acting
It's
Jesus?
Willem Dafoe.
Jim Caviezel.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so yeah, like my favorite performance of Leo is The Wolf of Wall Street, and maybe Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well. Like those feel like the ones where he kind of most broke out of his normal kind of stuff. And so like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's showing that vulnerability that he's like feels like I feel like he's too afraid to show almost in his like he doesn't really do interviews that much, and he doesn't really seem to like the press side of being famous because he just wants to hide all the under 25-year-olds.
Yeah. I can think of one aspect of fame he really likes. Though. It seems so antithetical to him, doesn't it? Because it's like big activist for like the environment and stuff, like all these really honorable things, and it's like, hey, he dates pretty young though. Like, every actor is a little bit Hollywood,
Yeah. Well, like you look at his acting at his dating history, and it's literally like he starts dating like a 22, 23-year-old, they turn 25, and he moves on to the next one.
Very strange. Like a man that seems to have so carefully cultivated his reputation doing something so publicly gross.
Yeah. Because how old is he now? He'd be 50-ish? 46. So dating would, half his age. But anywho.
Look, we've all done it.
Well, Sarah especially.
Yeah, like the thing that like he can't break away from me, and it's the most frustrating thing, is that like when he yells, he yells in every fucking movie, and he always just sounds, because he only takes on the roles where it's like, I'm a big fucking like this big performance, and which is actually kind of why I'm really excited for Don't Look Up, the new Adam McKay film, which is like him and Jennifer Lawrence going around warning a non-caring world about an impending asteroid, and it feels like it might be a bit of a quieter picture, and with Adam McKay, it's like maybe we can finally see some like comedy chops from Leo.
Don't hold your breath.
But yeah, and this movie is kind of just one of those, like, it's all the kind of bits of Leo I've seen elsewhere. Like, I've also like, God, I've seen Leo hit a woman so many times.
Right?
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like in movies.
Just so many times.
Does he hit someone in the Aviator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He smacks to the ground, and it's like,
when did that happen?
God.
I don't remember that.
It's like at this point, it's like, is this just in your contract, Leo?
Yeah. He has to yell. He has to hit someone.
Hit on a
Probably a
15-year-old.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck.
I don't know. Yeah, there's something about this movie never elevated it, and maybe it's the downfall side of it. It never went far enough.
Right.
Kind of like
he just peed in jars.
He peed in jars. Like, we've all done it.
Right.
And like there was something that I was, because Scorsese movies are all like, every time I watch one, I'm like, oh yeah, of course this is why he's the master, and I didn't get that with this one.
Yeah, I'm on the is everyone still there? The weird vacuum cleaner sound just stopped, and it made it sound like my audio just cut out. Oh, it's back! It's back!
Oh, it's back.
Does it just do it when I talk?
I don't know what's going on.
Or is it like, I'm going to keep talking for a little bit. Here's me talking. See if the vacuum cleaner. So it's coming back. Yeah. Like, okay, now I'm not going to talk for ages and see if it comes back. Wait, everyone take turns muting yourself.
Okay.
Dead air. Oh my god.
It's not me, because I can hear it. I think it's Sarah.
Muted.
Maybe the fan on this laptop, I guess.
Oh, that'll be it.
I apologize.
It's fine. No, I don't actually care.
More interesting than this.
I'm on the IMDb trivia page, and here's one of these classic pieces of like, not dumb IMDb trivia, just like actor shit, where it says Kate Blanchett's portrayal Kate Blanchett, in preparation for her role as Katharine Hepburn, learned to play tennis and golf and took cold showers, for which Hepburn was known.
Whoa.
It's like, oh yeah, did that inform your performance?
Yeah.
You could just read the lines and pretend to be Kathy Hepburn.
Right.
You did what you do normally in the summer. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my favorite is on the DVD extras and how they made a huge deal about Gwen Stefani preparing for the role of being Jean Harlow. Like, she looked at every single piece of picture, all her clothes, looked at all her roles, and she was ready. She was Jean Harlow for one little line of dialogue thanking Howard
Yeah.
Hughes. Okay.
Yeah, and the
So-
culmination is you're watching this film and you go, is that Gwen
Is that Gwen
Stefani?
Stefani?
Or do I not know what Gwen Stefani looks like? This was my thought process. I was like, is that Gwen Stefani, or do I just not
Am I
know what
very
Gwen
out of
Stefani? No, it's Gwen Stefani who is wrong.
No doubt.
She did look gorgeous, but
She looked amazing.
yeah, all
just
she did
spit
was
an
walk in
image of
the.
Jean Harlow.
Just had to walk
Yeah.
in the makeup trailer. They took care of everything. So I don't know if she did all that research for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like,
But like,
ooh,
yeah,
good for you.
like she gets to choose what she wears. No, that's cute. Man, there was some dumb IMDb trip. I was like scrolling through it.
Would you like to share any, Sarah?
I didn't
Yes,
write any
sir.
of it down.
Oh, no!
Oh,
A lot of it
no.
was just like what you might expect.
Hot take,
Amateur
all
hour.
IMDb trivia is dumb.
Yeah,
I've grown
Dude.
beyond trivia.
but it's tepid. That's a tepid take, AJ.
I'm tired of this IMDb.
That's a room
caught
temperature
up in the
take at
trivia
best.
of their lives.
I thought that I was much more interested in like the Hell's Angels part of this film than
Yeah.
when it,
Yeah.
like the filmmaker part as opposed to the aviator part. I
Who
was
gives a
much
shit
more
about some
interested-
fucking planes?
Yeah,
Right?
fuck it. Howard Hughes, can you just get over it? Actually,
Oh, I'm like, his OCD, it's like, just don't be so obsessive compulsive.
this is one of those examples that gets used as well in all the those like supercuts of every time they say the title of the movie in the movie, because it's kind of funny if you're not taking this movie seriously, because it's after he crashes and he like grabs the guy and he's like, I'm Howard Hughes, the aviator.
He's taking a shit, yeah.
My
And like
God.
in another Scorsese movie that kind of like it's like it works in the sentence, but imagine if the title was anything else and it
Right.
was still in that place.
Yeah.
It was like, it's me, Howard Hughes, the Wolf of Wall Street. The Departed, when they're like, what was their name? The Departed.
Potted.
I like that one.
And
I
it's
think
like,
that's a cool
but
one.
it's just the pause before saying it. It's like, now I'm going to say the name of the movie. It just happens to work in the sentence.
Yeah. Nice.
What was
All
the
right.
name? The king of comedy.
What was the name? Silence.
Was the name Hannah and her sisters? All right. Does anybody have anything else they would like to discuss about The Aviator?
One thing I liked was how in the crash of the XF-11, that was all miniature stuff, and there was a very good behind the
That's-
scenes
yeah.
about it, and how many times they had to rebuild this like dollhouse of a house to
Mhm,
just keep
mhm.
crashing in because Marty wanted it perfect. So that was
They even
okay,
built
but
a
You
building
know
with
Marty.
DiCaprio.
Yeah, that was really cool. I noticed that when I was watching it, that like the shingles looked like they were genuinely popping off, and I was like, I think this is a practical effect. Like, yeah,
The shingles are
little
popping off, yo.
Ah.
What's
Oh my God, that was-
I'm the Aviator.
That's it. That was.
Thank you.
yeah, that
This
was-
is
that
what
was
this
really
movie
cool.
makes me do.
Go down the same path.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ah.
they start peeing in jars, drinking only milk.
I got this Pepsi can I can pee in, but look away. Or look. No, Sarah, look away. You too look.
Nothing you can say will make me not look.
Ooh, AJ.
All right, is
Yeah.
that the
Aviator?
is that the Aviator then? Yeah, I think this is maybe the film I've enjoyed the least for Movie Club so far. I think it's probably the most surface level film. Like usually, how I prepare for Movie Club episodes is I type in name of movie explained and then see if I can watch a couple video essays just to get some interesting talking points. And for this one, the only thing I found was like a summation of the movie told through text to speech, and it was very strange. And I watched the whole thing and was like, I wish I didn't watch this. So yeah, not a lot of people discuss this film very critically. So that's
including
that.
us.
Now that's that. All right, so let's move on now to selecting next month's Movie Club movie. Richard, I believe it's your turn to make everyone guess like little kids.
But what's been added to the list?
Oh yes, good question. So, AJ, do you want to explain the rules of the list?
All right, the rules of the list are: this is a list of something like over maybe 200 films that are considered cult classics. That's one of the rules. They have to be, highly regarded in the world of film. They can't have sequels because we would do them for film franchise fortnights, and they have to be at least 10 years old. The caveat to all of this is we can add films that break all those rules if they are 10 years old, which is why things such as
so each month we add one film which only follows the is now 10 years old rule.
Yeah.
So the first one we added was The Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Mm-hmm.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 9 of these.
Film.
No, this is our 6th one. I think maybe you've added an extra one.
I added a couple. Anyway, I think I added The Social Network because it came out around the same time as The Legend of the Guardians, Owls of Ga'Hoole. And I was like, this one should actually be on the list.
Instead of Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
So I added Bridesmaids. Came out 10 years ago this month.
Cool.
Which is like I think a legitimate addition. All right. So
I like it, but I don't know if it's
No, it is.
Is it because they're women, AJ?
No. Directed by a man, anyway. So.
Ugh.
What was
Did everyone hear the number?
No.
That's because you were talking.
156.
Nice.
156.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Okay, let me just pull up the Wikipedia page.
Because you don't know what it is?
No, just to get some facts about it. Okay, all right. So, all right, it's a movie.
What?
It stars a very famous person.
Martin Scorsese.
We're off to a great start here.
Okay. It's a war film.
Oh.
Is it Once Were Warriors? No. What's it called? We Were Sold. What's it called? The Mel Gibson one.
Apocalypto.
Ah, yeah. Thank you. Is it Apocalypse Now?
No.
Saving Private Ryan?
It came out in 1986.
86.
Full Metal Jacket.
No.
Platoon.
Yep.
Platoon?
Thank
Yeah.
you. This
Who's
is going to be a
in
good discussion.
Who directed Platoon?
Oliver Stone.
And who's in it?
Charlie Sheen.
It's the Charlie Sheen one. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, everybody watching on YouTube later on, join us next month for Platoon. And thank you, Vincent and Sarah, the dwindling movie club. It marches forth into June. Platoon.
Oh,
June. Platoon. June. So we will let you guys know when the date is to record that, and hope you will join us for that. And otherwise,
just a little fun tease for Platoon. The Wikipedia page under reception has a segment called Racial Criticism.
Oh,
that'll be fun.
Wonderful. Alrighty. Okay, well, we'll see you next time, everybody, and thank you for joining. The way of the future, 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 the way